buying it? Where you buying it? Hey, fool, where you buying it? You bought it? Nah, she got that group nose.
So I saw this video and it brought back some bad memories. This was my introduction to public school. My first day of public school, I'm wearing my brother's moccasins, and immediately I was singled out. Immediately I was a target. First impression is everything, and that was their first impression of me. The weird thing about it is I went to private school. And when I went to private school, it was a brief situation like that. You know, I believe I told y'all the story. For the wintertime, my dad bought me some boots. You know, and everybody was wearing Timbs. But my dad bought me something called Glaciers. You know, he got them from Payless. I can understand why the kids in private school never really went in on me like that. Because if you think about it, I'm in private school, you in private school. Both our parents have to be making some type of money to send us to the school. So they never really went in on me like that. But once I got to public school, that's when things got crazy. It was a culture shock for me. For some years, I really resented my dad and the way he was thinking. See, my dad was one of those people that said, I'm going to get you what you need, not what you want. Kids are demonically cruel, especially when you're labeled the black sheep in your class or in your school. Because now you become the butt of everybody's joke. In public school, that's the first way it starts. This is a little different from the content I usually post. But when I seen this video, it brought back all types of bad childhood memories. My first year of public school, I went through this. I remember blaming my dad because I just couldn't understand why my dad didn't want to buy me just enough. So I blended in, so I didn't stand out. You know, I'm wearing my brother's hand-me-downs, or I'm wearing, I don't want to say bullshit, because shoes is shoes, clothes is clothes. And to be honest with you, they all made in some sweatshop in China. But at the time, I just wanted to blend in. And as time progressed, I understood what my dad was doing. And I wish he might have went about it a different way. But anyway, let me tell y'all a story, okay? Because kids are going to make fun of you regardless. Kids are cruel. So it's going to be something. It might be your hair. It might be your skin. It might be your clothes, your shoes. Kids are always gonna find something to make fun of. To this day, the kids that used to talk about my clothes and my shoes, I get so happy when I see them on Facebook and I know they're not doing better than me. Because eventually that's what happened. These kids who just make fun of you because of materialistic things, when they grow up, they're not gonna be able to afford it. At least that's what I've seen from my experiences. But let me tell y'all a story. I didn't know what poor was until I came to America. Now, I say this to say, when I came to America, we were doing pretty good. I didn't realize that when I lived in the Caribbean, I was actually what you would call poor. I didn't realize that until I came to America. When I lived in Grenada, I even went to school with one pair of shoes or some slippers. There were times when the slippers would mess up and I'd have to go to school without no shoes. I'd have to go to school bare feet. And I was okay with that. It was normal. The only bad thing was when the sun was out and that pavement was too hot. You had to walk in the grass. But that didn't bother me. The kids in the school didn't make fun of me because of that. Now fast forward, I come to America. I told y'all the story when I was in private school and my dad bought me some boots. I didn't know the difference with Timbs and Glaciers. My dad bought me some Payless Glacier boots. And I remember the kids was like, man, what is that? But it still wasn't as bad as when I went to public school. I remember I used to wear my brother's moccasins, right? It's the boat shoes. My brother had some boat shoes. I used to wear that to school. And they used to let me have it. Because all the kids was coming in there with Jordans. They were coming in there with Air Force Ones, Timbs. And I'm coming in there with some moccasins. And they were, I was considered a bum. Imagine that, me being considered a bum. Because I wasn't up on the latest fashion. And the weird thing is, I'm not going to really dwell on this, but based on other things, I was angry. And my anger might have actually saved me because it came to the point where I'm on your ass. Like, you want to talk about me? Eat these hands. It came to the point where I just had to fight. It got so bad to the point where there was an incident in school where I almost got arrested. You know, that's how bad it got. But again, I'm not saying it's right how I responded, but kids are cruel, dog. Kids are cruel. If you one of those parents that you're gonna have your kid go to school, however, which is fine, you know what I'm saying? If you don't have the money to afford it, it's all good. Just make sure that you're raising your child in a way that they're gonna stand up for themselves. Because if you don't stand up for yourself, this shit just gonna get worse. The worst thing you wanna do when you go to school is be labeled a target. Because once they see that you a target, it's just gonna keep going. And now one bully is gonna turn into two bullies gonna turn into three bullies gonna turn into 4. Before you know it, damn near your whole grade is gonna label you a victim. And anytime one of these folks having a bad day, they're just gonna be poking on you. That's how it started for me in 6th grade. 7th grade to 8th, that stopped. Now when I started high school, again, I wasn't up on Jordans, I wasn't up on the fashion, but was nobody really picking on me. You see what it was is, oh, ill. Thinking about this shit get me so upset now because all these girls used to call me ugly. There's so many girls just like, ill, no. And it was weird because outside of school, I was getting bitches. Outside of school, I was getting bitches. I went to school, no, ill, he's a bum. Like, fuck out of here. Fast forward, I go to college. All these same girls that was ill, scorning me and shit in high school, I had the craziest crush on you. You had the craziest crush on me, but in high school, I was ill to you. What happened? Oh, I get it. I wouldn't look good on your arm because I don't have the latest fashion. This shit be so weird, bro. The kids that literally would sit there and make fun of you be in the worst predicament. The worst predicament. Honestly, though, I blame this shit on the parents. When you see kids like this, it's because their parents raising them the wrong way. Their parents are raising them to be materialistic. These are the same type of kids whose parents don't have money for the rent, don't have money to pay none of the bills, but have the most expensive shoes on their feet, have the most expensive bags in their closet. Should be upsetting to me. This video really upset me. Like, I know I'm all over the place, but it resonates with me because I went through this. Point I'm really trying to make is these type of abuse, because this is abuse at the end of the day, can turn a good kid into a demon. For me, I was smart. I was a good kid, but I always got in trouble because I felt as though I needed to stand up for myself. It got to the point where they had to stop. People in high school will tell you a different story because once I got in that situation where I almost got arrested in junior high school, in high school I just calmed all the way down. Really, I wasn't even supposed to make it into my high school because the principal, we did the interview and he was just like, yeah, I'm seeing all these, in-house suspension, this, that, and the third. I'm a little skeptical because you were smart. I can tell you were a smart kid, but behavior-wise, am I going to have to worry? Bro, I really wasn't supposed to make it into that school. But again, I was a good kid. I just had to stand up for myself. And this is how it started. It literally started like this. Yo, what he got on his feet? What kind of jeans is those? What kind of shirt is that? And before it progressed, I was throwing hands. Hell no, I was not going. I done hit people in the face with textbooks. I done shoved people facing the gate at school. Motherfucking wire went through their mouth. I did a lot of wild shit in junior high school, bro. I don't know if my dean is still alive. If my dean is still alive, he would tell you that I never started any of these things. I think that's the only reason I never got kicked out of school. I never started any of these things. It was literally me defending myself every time. They got to the point where, bro, they stopped. I wasn't popular after that, but they stopped. All right, you gonna talk about my shoes? You gonna talk about my clothes? Okay, there's consequences for that. And the weird thing is, bro, my cousin went through the same thing. But the only difference is my cousin just stopped going to school. She just stopped going to school. She was beating girls up in class. And I remember when I went to college and I came back and I told my aunt, I was like, yo, you can't have her going to school like that. You cannot have her going to school like that. These kids are relentless. You don't have to buy her expensive stuff, but she can't be wearing that to school. If you seen how they had my cousin going to school, dog. The mouth of the shoes was talking. I remember going over there and seeing her, and I'm like, man, I know she's getting it worse than I was getting it when I was going to school. To this day, she didn't forgive her mother for that shit. I know it's a lot of y'all that's gonna come on here and say you're going to school to learn. It's not a fashion show, this, that, and third. And I totally agree with you. But at the same time, even in the workplace, appearances is everything. When you dress nice, you feel a lot better about yourself. You don't have to put on a fashion show. It's never about a fashion show. I think that's what people get things misconstrued. They think that you have to have the expensive shoes. You have to have the expensive bags. No, you don't have to do that. You can put yourself together nicely. I think that's where my dad messed up at. I never wanted the expensive things. I just wanted to go to school looking presentable. And you could tell when your kid is going to be a target. Maybe my dad and them couldn't tell. Like, that's one thing I could say. My dad, my aunt, they grew up poor. They grew up how I grew up in Grenada. So going to school with no shoes, that's normal. Like I told y'all, that was a norm for me. My shoes was messed up. I was going to school bare feet. For them, that was a day-to-day thing. So in America, the fact that you're going to school with shoes, to them, that's a blessing. It don't matter how old the shoes look. It don't matter if the bottom of the shoe's coming off. You're going to school with shoes. Now, in this situation, I don't think that's what's going on in this situation. I literally think this little girl likes that. She found a pair of shoes that she liked, and because it's not name brand, these fucking idiots decide to make fun of her. That's what this is. I get, listen, young girl. I guarantee you, when you're an adult and you see how they end up, you're going to have the last laugh.